All right, let's solve one of the biggest mysteries in English grammar, shall we? I'm talking about past simple versus past continuous. If you've ever gotten these two mixed up, don't worry, you are definitely not alone. But today, we are going to crack this case wide open.
So here's the big question, right? When on earth are you supposed to use past simple? And when do you use past continuous? It's a super common trip-up for a lot of learners, but stick with me, and I promise, by the end of this, it's all going to make perfect sense.
Okay, let's kick off our investigation. Now, I like to call these the story tenses. Why? Because they're the dynamic duo you need to tell a really good story about something that happened in the past. So let's break them down, one by one, and see what job each one does.
And here we go. This table pretty much boils it all down to the absolute basics. Past simple, that's for actions that are totally, completely finished, over, done. Past continuous, on the other hand, is for actions that were still in progress. Honestly, if you remember just this one thing, you're already halfway there. This is the key difference.
So let's zoom in on past simple first. The main idea here is that the action is 100% finished. It started in the past and it ended in the past. Things like, I ate breakfast, or she saw the movie. And I love this metaphor. Think of it like taking a single snapshot photo of something. Click, you captured the moment, it's done. Now, past continuous, well, that's a whole different animal. It's all about an action that was ongoing at a specific time. It wasn't finished yet. So if the past simple is that snapshot photo, then the past continuous is the video clip. You're not just seeing the moment, you're seeing the action as it was happening. Okay, this is where it gets really interesting. Let's see how these two tenses actually work together, because this is when they really shine. We're going to look at the number one most common way you'll see them used, the interruption scenario. The most important thing to get is that they have totally different jobs in the sentence. The past continuous is all about setting the scene. Think of it like the background music in a movie. It tells you what was already going on. But the past simple, that's the main event. It's the action that suddenly happens and moves the story along.
This timeline right here shows it perfectly. See that long, continuous line? That's your background action. That's our past continuous just chugging along. And then, bam, that short, sudden action that cuts right into it, you guessed it, that's the past simple.
Let's look at a classic example. I was studying when the power went out. So what was the long background action? I was studying, right? And what was the short, sudden thing that interrupted it? The power went out. See? It's like a mini story in one sentence. Okay, pro tip for you right here. Pay attention to the connector words. As a general rule of thumb, you're going to use while with the long action, the past continuous part. And you'll use when with that short, interrupting action, the past simple. Let's lock this idea in with one more example. The car crashed while she was texting. See how while goes with the long background action, she was texting? And the short interruption is the car crashed. It's always the same pattern. Background scene and then main event. All right, so that interruption scenario, that's the big one. That's probably 80% of how you'll use these tenses together. But there are a couple of other important uses we need to know about. So let's look at two more clues to solve this grammar mystery once and for all. So use number 2 is when you want to talk about an action that was in progress at a very specific exact time in the past. It's like we're pausing the video of the past and zooming in on one particular moment to see what was happening right then and there. Here's a great example. At 10 o'clock this morning, I was waiting for the bus. The key here is that super specific time, at 10 o'clock. I'm telling you what I was in the middle of doing at that exact moment. I hadn't finished waiting yet, it was in progress.
And our last clue to crack this case is what we call parallel actions. This is just a fancy way of saying you're describing two or more long actions that were happening at the exact same time. And since both of them are kind of like the background, they both get to use the past continuous.
For instance, I was reading while my brother was playing video games. You see, my reading and his gaming are two long background things happening at the same time. There's no short interrupting action here, so there's no need for the past simple. It's just two parallel scenes unfolding together.
And just like that, case closed. We've looked at all the evidence, we've gathered all the clues. So before I let you go test out your new grammar detective skills, let's just quickly recap the number one most important takeaway from all of this.
Look, if you walk away remembering only one single thing from this, please let it be this.
Past continuous is the background scene, past simple is the main action. That's it. That's the heart of the whole thing.
Okay, now it's your turn. Time to put on your detective hat. How would you complete this sentence? I walk home when I see my friend. Think about it. Which one is the long background action and which one is the short, sudden interruption? Pop your answer down in the comments below. I'd love to see what you come up with. Thanks so much for joining me.